Welcome and hello from Alex, with a story from r/TrueOffMyChest, where a man struggling with depression buys himself flowers but lies to his wife about their intended recipient. Coming up next is a story from typerfan. Lied to my wife about who the flowers were really for. I, 35 male, was recently diagnosed with having depression and anxiety. I've been going to therapy once a week and trying to implement everything I am learning into my daily life, but I still get my moments of depression. My wife knows of my diagnosis and my therapy visits. Besides that, she doesn't say anything help it or ask if there is anything she can do to help. One day I was out at the store buying things for the household when I was drawn to the flower section. I stared at the vibrant colors and realized that no one has ever bought me flowers before. I know there is that notion that only women should get flowers, but I decided to buy myself some flowers. When I got home, I cut them and put them in a vase right by my desk so I could look at them and see if that could help my depression in any way. My wife got home later that night and saw the flowers. Immediately, she said, "Thank you for the flowers. Wasn't expecting that for you." Instead of telling her the truth that they were really for me, I just said, "You're welcome." The flowers are still next to me and dying. I am trying to keep them alive, but I think my efforts are failing. I am not sure if I had any end result for this post. If you stayed until the end to finish, thank you for listening to me. And I am sorry there isn't any type of exciting conclusion that will cause a great discussion. But I can only hope that after you are done reading this you are well and have an amazing day. This story hits you right in the feels. Here's this guy clearly struggling with depression, and he decides to buy himself some flowers, a small act of kindness for himself. It's a good impulse. But then his wife thanks him for them, and wow. Dead silence. It feels heavy. If it were me, I'd be honest with his wife. Tell her he saw the flowers, liked them, and thought maybe they'd brighten his day. Maybe even use it as a chance to open up about his therapy and how he's feeling. Communication can be tough, but keeping things bottled up seems even harder in the long run. Those flowers dying next to him are a metaphor, aren't they? The withheld truth, the unspoken needs. Maybe if he can be honest about the flowers, it'll water a seed of better communication with his wife. Who knows, maybe she'd surprise him and buy him some flowers next time. A true act of kindness meant just for him. Coming up next is a story from ThrowRACalmincrisis. I didn't react enough to my husband asking for a divorce out of the blue and now he's mad. I, 26 female, was served with divorce papers by my husband, 27 male, about a month ago. I read them over and asked why. He told me he was in love with somebody else, his co-worker, and wanted to marry her. I said okay and began the process of moving out. I own a rental property that operates as an Airbnb-like vacation home and began the process of moving there. I took all my things, including things I paid for by myself, like all of our gaming consoles. I also spoke to one of my colleagues, 38 male, about having him represent me. I am a clerk at a law firm. He has agreed and we have moved forward preparing for the divorce. My husband contacted me a couple of weeks ago, angry that I had taken all of my things and moved out. He was even more angry that I didn't have any emotional response and didn't fight for him. I explained that there was no use throwing a tantrum about divorce and that I take time to process things. He dismissed me as being cold and unfeeling and said some hurtful things about me, including insulting my appearance, the way I dress, and my hobbies. I took screenshots and sent them to my colleague. We had our first hearing a few days ago and my soon-to-be ex-husband decided to represent himself. After the hearing he flipped out on me again and demanded why I had become my colleague's client. I told him that I believed my colleague would fight for me and I trusted him. My soon-to-be ex was very upset and demanded to know why I had chosen an attractive male to represent me and asked if I was cheating on him with my attorney. I told him I wasn't sleeping with my colleague and that it was kind of insulting to accuse me of sleeping with somebody else when he was leaving me for one of his co-workers. He called me a fat whore, I am chubby but at a healthy weight, and said I was probably paying for my attorney with sex. I feel really upset and needed to get my feelings off of my chest. I am glad I followed through with divorcing him, even though he seems to have somewhat changed his mind about leaving me. Wow, that's a roller coaster of a story. Opie sounds like she's been handling a really tough situation with surprising strength. Good on her for taking her time to process things and not letting him bully her. Personally, I can't believe the nerve of her husband. First, he blindsides her with a divorce for another woman, then gets mad when she doesn't beg him to stay. And the insults, completely uncalled for. It sounds like he's trying to manipulate her by throwing a tantrum. Seems to me Opie made a smart move getting her own lawyer, especially one she trusts. And that whole accusation about the lawyer, completely ridiculous. It's 2024. A woman can have a competent male attorney without rumors flying. Overall, I think Opie is doing the right thing. This whole situation sounds messy, but she seems to be holding her ground. Here's hoping she gets a clean break and finds someone who appreciates her for who she is. Coming up next is a story from Deleted, and if you like the video so far, don't forget to like the video. It only takes a second and helps me out a lot. Girlfriend had pity sex with someone and thinks it's not cheating. Yes, we are in a relationship. I've known her from middle school, and we started dating ever since. We were both virgins before that. Recently, she told me she had sex with someone out of pity while we were in a relationship. When I confronted her, she said that doesn't count as cheating because she didn't love him and just wanted to help. But why the fuck did this happen out of the blue? After I showed her how sad I was, she was very shocked and said she didn't know it would break my heart like that, but I genuinely don't know how to feel. She is extremely kind and beautiful, but sometimes very dumb. Her mother also knows it and tells me that she sometimes acts like a kid. But still, how can you not know that sleeping with someone else is cheating? Especially the fact that the guy was way too old and he could have hurt her. She says she is sorry that she didn't know and all, and I want to forgive her because I just don't know what do I do without her. I want to marry her someday. Our families know each other, and I know she was just a little dumb. But still, I feel like my heart is way too broken. I don't know what to do. This past week I was fully numb and didn't say shit to anyone. I wanted to vent here. This story is a roller coaster of emotions, betrayal, confusion, and a mix of anger and sadness all come crashing in. It's like being caught in a storm, unsure of which direction to take. The complexity of the relationship adds another layer of difficulty, torn between forgiveness and the sting of betrayal. It's a tough situation, but it's also a testament to the resilience of the human heart. Coming up next is a story from Muted N7895. I know that my husband is cheating on me with my best friend, but if I left, he will take half. I am a 40-year-old mother of a baby girl who is 5. I have been married to my husband for 12 years. About 10 years ago, I started my business, and it is my pride and joy. I love my life and I enjoy my work. 2 years ago, I lost my beautiful mother to breast cancer. It all happened in 5 weeks, and she was so young, 55 years old. It sent me into shock and depression. A short while before that, my best friend found out that her husband cheated and he left her for his mistress. It was a hard time, and my best friend and I became even closer than ever before. She moved in with me for a while after my mother passed because I wasn't really functioning and she was homeless. I started with antidepressants that killed my sexual needs. I felt guilty for my husband, but I really couldn't do anything but try to be healthy again as soon as possible. My best friend lived with us for 1 year, and they started sleeping together towards the end of that year. That's when I got home early and heard them. I ran out in shock. I came back a few hours later pretending nothing happened. I managed to smoothly find her a place because I couldn't bear it happening in my home, my sanctuary, my happy place where I live with my daughter. My best friend had already found herself a job, and I took the opportunity to find her the apartment near her job. She was grateful. I was a bit more relieved. The affair is still going on. If I leave, he will take half. It will ruin me and my business and what I am trying to build for me and my baby. No, I don't want to leave. It is so unfair that he is the one cheating and I am the one who will pay if I said anything. I refuse, so I am letting it happen. Instead, I wrote him off as my companion and safety blanket. I still have lots to be grateful for. My baby, my family, and my beautiful home. And my business. Most of the time, I am content and happy, even though I myself don't know how I am doing it. Maybe it is numbness or resignation, or maybe it is true contentment. But sometimes, when everything is 100 times magnified, I can barely contain my panic. Especially at night when he wakes me up because I am crying. Again, are you having a nightmare? And he tries to kiss and cuddle me to make me feel safe. I am here, you're safe. I wish I could tell him that my nightmares are my escape from my reality with him and that his shoulders aren't safe. He rarely asks why I am crying. He probably thinks it is mom, because that's what I tell him, but sometimes I feel like he knows or that he can't help himself, wondering, what's going on behind those eyes? What do you mean? I can't read your face anymore. See, you are silent again. When I look at him, he immediately looks away like he is scared he would turn into stone and says, I miss you, that's all. My panic has increased more these past few months since he started paying me attention again. The first period after mom's passing, he never bothered me out of courtesy, I suppose. Never asked for intimacy. Then he had her, so he didn't need me. But now, I don't know what changed. They're still together, so what does he want from me? Is he testing me? I never understood why they're doing what they're doing either. I have seen their texts. There's no love there, no respect, no warmth. Not what I would expect from two people who are sleeping together, especially not when the stakes are so high. You would think that they love each other so much that they're willing to pay the price in case they're caught. No, there's a lot of anger, fighting, and resentment. A lot of guilt and self-hatred. He calls himself and her disgusting and shells of a human being. Is that too some sort of love? I don't know why I am writing here. I googled about infidelity and self-help and I ended up in this community and I read tens of similar stories. Maybe I would feel better writing my own down. Please don't think too ill of me. I know that I am pathetic, but I used to have more dignity. This is a heartbreaking story. It's clear Opie is wrestling with a devastating situation. On one hand, she's built a life, a business, a home, a family, and the thought of losing it all is terrifying. On the other hand, the emotional toll of the infidelity must be immense. Living with a cheating husband and the knowledge that her best friend betrayed her trust is a recipe for constant anxiety. If I were in her shoes, the anger would be hard to swallow. The fact that the affair seems loveless and fueled by negativity makes it even worse. It's a betrayal on multiple levels. Opie mentions finding contentment despite everything, but it sounds fragile. The emotional numbness she describes can't be a healthy long-term solution. Here's the thing, Opie has built a successful business. She's clearly a strong and resourceful woman. Maybe right now leaving seems impossible, but that doesn't mean it has to be forever. Perhaps gathering evidence, consulting a lawyer, and building a financial safety net in secret would be a good first step. Taking some power back could be the spark she needs to make a difficult decision. This situation is complex, and there are no easy answers, but Opie deserves to be happy and safe. Reaching out for support, even anonymously online, shows she's starting to fight for herself. That's a powerful first step. Coming up next is a story from NoName62001. Just got called a mom of 3 of my friends in a public place. I just want to vent a little because I seriously can't stop crying and have nobody that I could share this with. Today is my birthday and I went to have a little birthday dinner with 3 of my friends. For context, I am 22 years old, just turned 23, and all my friends are around the same age, 24 and 23. We were having dinner, enjoying and talking a lot, when a woman approached our table and said that we make a beautiful family and asked how we were related. To this we replied that we were actually friends, and then she proceeded to ask us our age. She got so shocked when she heard mine and said that she actually thought that I was the mom of my friends and not just one friend. She thought that I was the mom of all 3 of my friends and don't look 22 years old at all. This has been eating me ever since. It has been around 4 hours since this incident and I can't stop crying ever since I got home. Ouch, that birthday dinner took a turn for the worse. Being mistaken for your friend's mom has got a sting, especially on your birthday. It's completely understandable that you're upset. In my mind, being told you don't look your age can sometimes be a compliment, but in this situation, it's definitely landed the wrong way. Here's the thing, some people just have youthful faces. Maybe you should take comfort in the fact that you'll likely be mistaken for being younger for years to come. However, a birthday is supposed to be a celebration, and this encounter definitely cast a shadow over yours. If I were you, I'd treat yourself to something special to make up for it. Maybe a night in with a fun face mask and a movie marathon. Surround yourself with people who make you feel good about yourself, and remind yourself how amazing it is to be 23. That wraps up r/TrueOffMyChest. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to visit my Spotify channel. Link is in the description, so you can listen to the best Reddit story while being outside, and remember to hit that subscribe button.